Welcome to Carly's Colorful Corner, where you will learn how to paint a cute panda bear for Valentine's. Welcome to Carly's Colorful Corner, where we will be doing blah blah blah. Alright, so the first step is taking a clean, damp watercolor brush that does not have a lot of water, does not have too little water. It's damp with some clean water on top. Let's take that clean layer of water and spread it at the top part of your chest from one side of the bird to the other. We are creating a basis or a basic layer or a clear layer of water for our wash. This is going to kind of serve as a vehicle. It's going to help our yellow move from one place to another fluidly, but it's also going to dilute the yellow and make it not as prominent, so that way we can add shadows and textures on top of the chest if we choose to do so. So just take your time, paint only in this area, focus only on this area right now, because if you focus on everything else and then you come back to this area, it's going to be too dry and you won't be able to work with it. So just focus on this top part for right now. If necessary, you can always build more yellow into the chest of your bird as you go. Let's start light though and then work our way forward. Repeat step one with the second part of your body, except for this time you're going to use green or a different color, preferably one that's darker than the chest. And you're going to make that translucent layer of water down first. I would just focus on the feet up to the middle of the chest, because your paper will dry. If you have quality paper, it will dry quickly. So this will give you enough time and the space will be small enough to work with to get what you need done effectively. So you're going to go from one side to the other side with green now instead of yellow. Okay, so I'm going to take a pause from the body right now. We'll go back to the tail feather a little bit later. I'm going to lather up as much green as I could possibly imagine onto my brush, and I'm going to put in those dark green wings on my bird. When you're doing this, you're going to want to make sure that you don't have a lot of water. Your brush is damp, but you don't want a lot of water because you don't want to dilute or dilute your green and make it light. We're aiming for a nice dark green here. We don't want a light green. We're aiming for contrast. If your birds are overlapping like my birds, one of the wings might appear like it's behind one of the birds' bodies. And these wings are very close to the body, so you're almost going to want to use just the edge or the tip of your paintbrush to kind of blot these wings in if need be. Now let's move on to the tail feather. There are two ways that you can do this. You can do an outline, a green outline of the tail feather itself, and then drag that green in with a damp brush into the tail feather itself. Or you could do what you've been doing with the rest of the bird's body by creating a wash and then taking green and adding it to said wash to make it kind of like a pale green and then filling in the space from there. Your art, your choice. Both things kind of eliminate or get what needs to be done done. I prefer a darker tail, and I also prefer moving my brush kind of in a very small controlled U motion. I'm doing this because it's kind of making it look like the feather, it has texture, it's rounded, and then it's moving up from the bottom into the spine. Totally up to you though. Uh, You don't have to do this if you don't want to. It's just a fun, quick, easy way to make things look a little bit more realistic using your brush strokes. Now it's time to work on the head of the bird itself. Once again, we're going to repeat the first step, but this time we're going to do it with a reddish orange. I personally don't have a red orange in my color palette. I actually have to make it on the paper. So if you are in the same boat as me, follow along with what I'm doing. If not, just do what you did in step one with a clear coat or a clear wash of water from one side of the head to the other side, and then add your reddish orange color and fill in the blanks. Whatever you do, I'd switch out to a smaller brush, and that way you're spreading your wash only on the head section. You don't want to do it on the beak and you don't want to do it on the eyes because that color is going to bleed into those areas if you do decide to put the wash there, and it's going to mess and muddle with the colors that you decide to do for the eyes and the beak. So just focus on the head area for right now, the actual feathery part, and then we will do the eyes and the beak a few minutes from now. While we wait for the head to dry, we can start adding some details to the body because the body should be dry by now. We're going to do a dry on dry technique. Take a clean, damp brush and lather it in the feather color of your top chest. We're going to use little U check marks to indicate that there are feathers here. And you're going to keep doing this as you move down the bird's body and switch to the color in which the section you are working on. And quite simply, you're going to repeat this process with your second bird if you happen to have a second bird. And that, my friend, is how you create lovely lovebirds using watercolor.